How do you tell a story without any words? Hi, I'm Andy. I finally got around to try out Hyperlight Drifter and I was hooked from the start. Not only did the art style, tight combat and sound design amaze me, it was the game's narrative that truly fascinated me. Storytelling is a term that's getting thrown around a lot lately. Games reach out to a broader audience with every day. The worlds we explore are vast and of unimaginable size, and graphic fidelity surpasses our expectations with every day. Well, almost. Most importantly though, we also thrive to develop stronger narratives. But what exactly is the best way to tell a story? Is it through an introductory cutscene that sets the tone for the adventure that's about to unravel?
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog.
Do we push the narrative through pages of dialogue to strengthen character development?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
Shall we create hour-long cutscenes to build up emotional peaks?
One of us is enough. My body is a machine. I can take it. Your body may be a machine, but your heart is human.
Should we even use words? Do we really need to tell a story in a game? Shouldn't we rather show it? Or why don't we just experience it right away? The magic of a game is its interactive nature. You as a player decide the pace of the game and what you want to see as long as you're given that control. You can see and skip as much story as you feel necessary, and therein lies the strength of Hyperlight Drifter's approach to visual storytelling. First of all, the game is split into 4 main combat areas and a town hub area. It's a colorful place with lots of NPCs and shops, although nobody ever talks to you. The closest thing to a conversation you could have are a few sounds that show their mood. As you walk away from the safe haven, your surroundings slowly decay and succumb to the cold of the mountain. A mysterious traveler fights off a wave of bird-like creatures, leaving you alongside their corpses. Soon after, their attacks focus you as well. You're greeted with another monumental view. Fight off waves of enemies and slowly build up hatred against these bird-like creatures. And as this feeling gets stronger with every enemy faced, you meet this guy. A bird, unlike the others, hidden away and surrounded by small pigeons. Absolute peace and quiet. The only thing you hear is the wind blowing alongside the cliff you're standing on. He shows you a tale in 3 pictures, short impressions. A story of betrayal and mass murder, a cult taking over and burning down the home of the birds and unhedged eggs. The only survivor rescuing all unborn life his wings can hold. And there he is, guarding his orphans. Your path of exploration turns into one of vengeance. Every bird you fought in your way was part of this cult, part of the mass murder, part of something you need to end. Your gameplay decisions suddenly gain weight. After an hour of exploration, you finally approach the northern area's boss's lair, a shaman of sorts, the leader of the bird-like enemies. And as you engage the battle, all of these mobs you've been slaying on your path watch your fight against their leader, cheering with every hit he strikes on you. It's really interesting, isn't it? Anything I said is ever mentioned. In fact, you could skip the bird off in the story entirely. You might even interpret it in a different way than me and create an entirely new perspective. What if he was part of the cult, but a moment of insecurity made him change his mind? But even without narration, it does impact how we perceive certain events. The shaman boss of the North area was a thrill to fight against. Words I wouldn't dare to use for the East area boss. The Eastern area also uses a lot of environmental storytelling by showing you small events before engaging into battle. The area itself was a lot brighter than the mountains we visited before. Brimming colors, soothing streams of water, a peaceful atmosphere. Yet the first enemy encounter evokes strong contrasts. These frogs fish for rabbit corpses, stacking them up only to behead and impale them later. A massive contradiction to such a peaceful area. Suddenly, you notice these corpses scattered around. They've been there all along, you just didn't see them on your first way through. Instead of experiencing the fight between two cultures like before, we see the direct impact of a war between creatures. Compared to the unpleasant atmosphere of the northern area, this place doesn't feel as ratchet. It's almost untouched. As if someone invaded into a once peaceful hometown of another race just recently and is still cleaning the tracks of the battle. After walking through the underground facilities for a while, we find a shrine with a few rabid survivors inside. Two of them seem to be too exhausted to notice or talk to us, though one of them shares the darkest hours of his life. Just as expected, the frog suddenly invaded their lands and brutally murdered most of his kind, capturing, torturing, and skinning them as a result. He barely managed to break his shackles and was able to escape with a few of his brethren. Though he's still trying to break his shackles, probably only 2 nights passed since that incident. The graphic violence shown in the story has a stronger impact on you as a player, and the events are way more recent compared to the bird orphanage. A feeling of revenge kicks in once again, though stronger than before. Overall, the build-up is pretty similar to the one of the northern area, if not stronger, yet the payoff is really horrible it seems. The frog boss seems almost like a no-brainer, like an afterthought. You might be able to finish him off in your first try and leave his grave fairly unsatisfied. You did your job, avenged the rabbits, but feel a bit dull. Why is that? The stronger the build-up, the higher expectations will be. After witnessing the restraintless murders of the frog tribe, you'll expect something stronger than the shaman you fought before, although the frog boss isn't even that bad. The visual storytelling you received just communicated something entirely different to you than you ultimately expected, hence making the fight unsatisfying compared to the shaman, even though it's not as bad as you might think. These 2 story fragments aren't just loose concepts that get thrown into your route of objectives, instead they slowly grow onto you. As you play the game, you will notice recurring themes with every area you visit. Every place has a dark past that'll be noticeable to you as you play, and every time you visit an area, you'll get 3 reappearing events. The knight that saved you in the beginning of the game, fighting off some area-specific enemies. These notes you need to activate throughout the area to progress the story. And the visions of your death that you'll relive with every 4th note you collect. Every story told by its inhabitants is connected to you. Whoever made these tribes lose their people, and whoever controls the area's bosses is closely connected to your avatar, his mission and destiny, so as well to you as a player. The interesting part about all of these things I told you is that this only really works in a video game. Of course, I could just let my movie characters communicate through pictures as well, just let them express themselves through gestures and facial expressions. I might as well just hold an actual frame of my memories in my hand, but it wouldn't even resemble anything close to the impact Hyperlight Drifter will have on you. Why? Because you not only perceive but also experience this world. Every piece of history told to you is harsh and filthy. People get killed without any warning, while tribes get eradicated from known history. Something validated by the gameplay. Hyperlight Drifter is not an easy game, definitely not. You will die a lot in your playthroughs and experience the same overwhelming feeling the tribes had to bear with them while defending against intruders and assassins. As long as you rush in mindlessly, you will die a lot in this game. Except if you interact with the world, accepting that you're part of it. You're not just a puppet racing through different stages, you're trying to survive as much as anyone else tried, and as you start to study your environment, the visuals, structures and layout of maps, you'll be able to use this to your advantage. The rabbit of the eastern area only survived because he knew where to hide during battle. Why not learn the same thing? Hide from enemy fire while taking out greater foes before turning back on them. The bird in the northern area knew the ins and outs of his hometown, so he wouldn't have any problems to find a spot where he could be safe. And as long as you observe your surroundings closely, you'll find secret areas with upgrade cubes in them as well as he did. In fact, you'll find a lot of these as long as you keep your eyes open. But as you go back to the center of the map, your town hub area, everything calms down again. You can explore at your own pace, nothing ever attacks you. The color scheme is bright and soothing again, there is no danger. Even every button that is assigned to combat does something else to stop you from disturbing the peace and quiet of this place. This kind of storytelling does bring risk with it though. The most obvious being one I've already scratched on. What if you miss the story? The game's story is very open to interpretation, and it never tries to be too direct about anything ever, and with so little guiding, a less interested player might just feel confused and ignore the visual story elements entirely. While you do miss out on some excellent hidden lore this way, you'll never be completely lost. Events like the knight saving you and helping you to get along in the world, as well as reoccurring unskippable themes in the world like the visions and notes, will guide the player enough to keep them interested, at least on a gameplay level. You'd want to collect the fourth note just to see what happens. The visual aesthetics and storytelling are heavily woven into the gameplay aspect of Hyper Light Drifter, which in on itself is already a strong element. The game could absolutely function with combat only. But overall, most of the story work is done to open up for a very niche audience. Like you, for example, watching this and being interested in it. Hey there! Thanks for watching the first pilot episode of Endless's critique and gushing on video games, a format I plan to do regularly. I'm a design student from Germany and I love video games since... forever? And if I'd had a chance, I would have applied for a game design course here. I love to talk about the things I love and inspires about games I play, and I'd be happy to share my thoughts with you here. If you want to help me out, you can follow my English Twitter account or use this Telegram link to keep getting updated about my uploads, or even support me on Patreon. I don't have a regular video schedule due to university, but I will try to do these videos as regular as possible. Just to keep you interested, I'll leave my future video suggestions right here, and the one I'm planning on doing next is a critique on Night in the Woods. It is a game with a very strong fan base, but I'm one of those people that have a few issues with the game that I'd like to see addressed. So if you're interested in that, just keep your eyes open and see you next time.